The amphitheater of the Galactic Institute for Xenoanthropology hummed with anticipation as delegates from 47 species settled into their designated sections. Professor Zixathala of the hegemony adjusted her crystalline neural crown, while the methane-breathing Vorthak representatives sealed themselves within their atmospheric suits. At the center of the circular chamber, a holographic display flickered to life, showing the blue-green marble that had captivated scholars across the galaxy. "Earth," announced Dr. Keening Wind-Through-Stones, the Etherian moderator whose voice resonated through both audible frequencies and telepathic channels. A primitive world that achieved faster-than-light travel barely 3 centuries ago, yet their cultural mythology has proven extraordinary. The first speaker, a towering klaxon with chitinous plates gleaming under the amphitheater's lights, activated the central display. Images of human warriors flashed before the assembly. Bronze-armored Greeks, samurai in elaborate armor, knights in chainmail, modern soldiers in tactical gear. The humans speak of individuals who transcend normal limitations. The klaxon scholar clicked in his native tongue, translated instantly by the universal communicators. They call them heroes, single beings who allegedly defeat armies, conquer impossible odds, and reshape the course of history through individual action. A collective rustle of amusement rippled through the audience. The concept was absurd to most galactic civilizations, where progress came through collective effort, technological advancement, or evolutionary adaptation. The idea that one individual could matter so significantly seemed like primitive wishful thinking. "Clearly mythological," interjected Professor Zixathala, her cranial crystals pulsing with scholarly disdain. "No single organism can overcome the mathematical certainties of warfare, logistics, or societal inertia. These hero myths represent humanity's inability to comprehend the complex systems that actually govern change." The Vorthak delegate's methane suit hissed as he spoke. "Our analysis suggests these stories serve as psychological compensation for humanity's individual weakness. Unable to accept their insignificance, they create fantasies of personal agency." For 6 hours, the debate continued. Scholars presented papers analyzing human mythology through the lens of established xenosociological principles. The Etherians argued that hero myths demonstrated primitive pattern recognition errors. The hegemony representatives suggested they were evolutionary remnants of pack-hunting behaviors. The synthesis collective's hive mind found the very concept of individual significance incomprehensible. As the symposium reached its conclusion, Dr. Keening Wind-Through-Stones was preparing his closing remarks when the amphitheater's security systems activated. Emergency lights bathed the chamber in amber, and the voice of Station Commander Veltar echoed through the facility. "All personnel to secure positions. Unknown vessel approaching at impossible velocity. Defensive system. Defensive systems are not responding." The scholars looked at each other with the particular confusion of academics suddenly thrust into reality. Through the amphitheater's transparent dome, they could see a sleek ship decelerating from relativistic speeds with casual grace, its hull scarred by what looked like centuries of conflict. The vessel docked with mechanical precision, and within minutes the amphitheater's main entrance hissed open. A figure walked in, bipedal, clearly human, wearing simple clothes that somehow seemed more intimidating than the most advanced armor. She was perhaps middle-aged by human standards, with graying hair pulled back and scars that spoke of countless battles. But it was her eyes that made the assembled scholars instinctively step back. Eyes that held the weight of worlds. "I heard you were discussing human heroes," she said, her voice carrying easily through the vast chamber without amplification. "I thought I'd clarify a few misconceptions." Professor Zixathala's crystals flickered with nervous energy. You're just one individual. The statistical improbability of—" "My name is Sarah Chen," the human interrupted gently. 300 years ago, I was a lieutenant in the Earth Defense Force. I've been traveling since then, helping where I can." She gestured casually toward the viewport where her ship hung against the stars. "That vessel has been my home while I've ended 7 different genocides, stopped 2 galactic wars, and helped establish peaceful contact between species that had been murdering each other for millennia." The klaxon scholar's mandibles clicked frantically. "Impossible. One being cannot—" "You're thinking about it wrong," Sarah said, settling into the center of the amphitheater as if she belonged there. "You assume heroes are about individual power, about being stronger or smarter or more advanced than everyone else. But that's not what makes a hero. She looked around the chamber, meeting eyes or optical sensors or telepathic nodes with each delegation. The thing about humans is that we understand something your civilizations have forgotten in all your advancement. Sometimes, someone has to choose to care. Not because it's logical, not because it's profitable, not because your society mandates it, just because it's right. The Vorthak delegate's suit vents hissed. But the mathematics of individual action versus systemic forces. The mathematics change, Sarah said simply, when someone refuses to accept them. When a person decides that impossible just means no one has tried hard enough yet. She stood, and somehow the motion seemed to fill the entire amphitheater. Your species have created wonders through collective effort, through technology, through evolution. But you've forgotten something crucial. Systems are only as strong as the individuals who choose to uphold them. And when systems fail, when civilizations collapse, when logic breaks down, when all your careful calculations lead to horror, that's when you need someone who will stand up anyway. That's when you need a human. The chamber fell silent. Outside, the scarred ship waited patiently among the stars, ready for its next impossible journey. Dr. Keening Wind-Through-Stones finally found his voice. You're saying these myths, they're not myths at all? Sarah smiled, and for a moment the weight in her eyes lifted. We prefer to call them job descriptions. As she walked toward the exit, the assembled scholars, representatives of the galaxy's most advanced civilizations, found themselves doing something their logical minds insisted was absurd. They stepped aside to let her pass. In the days that followed, the Galactic Institute quietly archived the symposium's conclusions and began new research into what they termed the human anomaly. But Sarah Chen was already gone, following distress signals toward the rim worlds, where logic said one person couldn't possibly make a difference. She had never been particularly good at math anyway,